Day 11, coming at ya! That's right, we're back. It's me, Gazbot, with 100 days of making comics. So, obviously I don't have my new camera. This is still the iPhone. I'm back to a previous setup I had tried in here. Last time I had this light off, and it was doing weird focus things because of the Christmas lights. So now I'll just be washed out in fiery light. Meanwhile, the camera was supposed to show up yesterday, said they attempted delivery or something, didn't happen. My postal service here sucks. This kind of stuff happens all the time. So it's supposed to be here today by the end of the day. It's 5:30 now. It's not the end of the day, but if it does show up, I'm not gonna have time to use it later anyway. So this is the video I'm recording now because I'm gonna feed the cats and then I'm on my way out to a friend's birthday party. So I won't have the energy or probably to want to do this later. At best, I'll just edit it. So what did I do today? I did a little bit of client work. I've been getting just enough client work lately that I'm getting a little bit of money coming in, but it's not destroying my whole day as far as being able to do other stuff, so that's nice. So I did a little bit of client work in the morning. Then in the afternoon, I did 2 hours, which is my standard minimum, it seems. I did an hour of writing, did exactly 3 pages of scripting on the second issue, and that's not bad, but it is weird that 3 pages in an hour is probably definitely slower, maybe even half of what I've been kind of averaging when I write. And I talked about how as I write more it gets easier, and it does, but I find where it trips me up is certain parts of the story I'll sort of say, oh, this happens, like kind of plot points, or even just one plot point. But then it's like, oh, to unpack that is going to be a lot more thought, and certain dialogue I find difficult. Not so much conversational dialogue and getting, character points across, but moving the plot forward, because I never want people to just be saying, hey, oh, we have to go over there now. Yeah, because the guy said this. Okay, well, that's our... I don't want that kind of horrible exposition as much as I could avoid it. And this particular scene I was doing involves the main character, Boots, going to a library or, a data center. It's sort of semi-futuristic, but it's just a library. And, the whole scene, I have written, Boots goes to the library and does some research, finds some new information. And I'm like, all right, so that's fine, and that'll take me a page. And it ended up being 2 or 3 pages, and it's just oh, she has to talk to the librarian, and then she has to read a book or look at the computer terminal, or just the scenes of I have to show her doing research. And it's kind of boring, but it's important because otherwise how would she know this stuff? She has to acquire this knowledge, and this is the way I've chosen to do it. Arguably I could choose a different way, but for other reasons this is what I wanted to do. And so I found myself kind of setting up and have a little conversation with the librarian and set up the scene where she is. And then when she gets into the, now I need to research. It's supposed to be a thing where she researches all day and looks at a couple different sources. And so I ended up kind of doing a montage, which is weird to do in comic form. And I was like, well, how am I going to show time passing? And I'm like, well, I'll have a clock in the background. Then I'll show the sun coming down. And it literally, I could hear that, Team America, you need a montage, playing in the background. And I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. But I wrote those 3 pages. They're done as is. It gets from point A to point B. When I go back and reread it later, I might decide that's terrible. But, again, I had to have something happen there, and I couldn't find a way to make it more interesting than I already did. Luckily, Boots' personality, the interaction with the librarian, hopefully that'll be a little interesting because of just the way she is and how she acts with people. So then, after that, I realized, oh, I don't know what the librarian's going to look like, which is, a tertiary character at best, but again, an excuse to draw and do a little design, and something I'm going to have to design eventually anyway, so it's better to break it up along the way. For myself, because writing gets pretty tedious, so if I could write and then draw, that helps, and also for these videos. I feel like I'm talking fast today. I feel like this is the normal rate I normally talk, and then Q is telling me, she's like, in some of these videos, you do this, quiet voice of, the cool guy, educator, which isn't me, but sometimes it's because I'm outside, or it's late at night, and I kind of need to be quiet. Maybe I'm tired, or I don't know what. But anyway, the point was that I did another drawing of the librarian, which I will put up right here.
So once again, pulled up some research, and actually, if you notice to the left there, that's Kevin Cross. I was watching his 100 days of making comics. He's on 70 or something at this point, although he's actually done while I'm watching this. When I record screen capture, I have to put it just on my Cintiq, and so I kind of put it off to the side, and I wasn't really thinking about how it would capture that too. I'm sure he won't mind since it's public that he shows to everyone, and it's just another free commercial for him. I'll throw up a link on here to his playlist. But You can see me and him drawing both in super speed. Oh, what's he doing over there? He's doing a character design tutorial. I, meanwhile, have decided on this guy's face. He he looks like a guy from the 70s, like he would have been on that old show, The Electric Company or Sesame Street or something, although I think it's a more modern picture. And you see I have some women, too. I had originally thought the librarian would be a woman, and I actually wrote the script for the first scene with her, and kind of made a stereotypical kind of friendly and helpful but prissy and sort of rule-stickling kind of person. And I decided, since I went with such a cliche sort of character in the writing, I would try to get a character that didn't look the part. I'm going to keep all the dialogue the same, but I'm like, well, what if it's a guy? Maybe he's gay, maybe he's straight, whatever, but he has that personality. And so I like that guy's face. I just found him on some clip art thing. I'm not even sure where I found that. So he took his face, and then, again, with the sort of generic, nondescript outfit, although librarian, it's not like there's a librarian outfit. But I did give him the bow tie, which is a little on the nose, and I eventually gave him glasses too, which again is a little on the nose, but considering the personality mixed with his look, like his beard and stuff is not very traditional for what you'd expect to see as a librarian. But again, he does kind of fit that anime idea or manga idea, especially with the beard. He looks like Jet Black from Cowboy Bebop, or that guy from One Piece, or 100 other characters. And so here I gave him kind of, I don't want to say steampunk, although that's kind of what it looks like, but just extra little things, and a little technological headband, which comes into play later as part of the way you could access some data. Decided to roll up his sleeves so that you could see he has tattoos, which was another thing I found. There's some group like Northwestern Tattooed Librarians of America, and I was like, all right, cool, he's got tattoos. Because again, and maybe this is a cheap thing to do, because I wrote his character so stereotypical that I wanted to make him visually not match up with what you'd expect. And hopefully make a more interesting character in that way. I sort of did this cleanup in blue, and then I didn't do another cleanup later, which kind of came back to bite me in the butt. I mean, it didn't really, because this is just a rough design, and he's like a tertiary character anyway, but I decided to throw some color in, and it made it look a little muddy since I did blue. Look at Kevin over there. Hey, I'm Kevin Cross. I like comics. Punk rock. So yeah, and then I decided I wanted to put a little environment behind him too. I'd pulled a bunch of, I didn't do it yet, but I pulled a bunch of reference for libraries and stacks and things like that for the later scenes that I'll need. And so I used those to go ahead and build a quick background behind him. Here I'm putting a horizon line. Hey look, day 74 for Kevin Cross. I was jumping the gun before. Fake some perspective. This is the kind of perspective I'm good at when I kind of fake it. And it's very close up. When I do city scenes is when I start to have trouble beyond a building or two. And then a desk with some kind of chair that is it futuristic, or is it just a nice office chair? Who knows? And some kind of laptop data entry. Put some windows because I'm going to need to use those later to show passage of time. On the right is some kind of data port behind them, maybe they're monitors, whatever. And then I go ahead and color him in, which again I didn't need to do, and it was kind of a waste of time in retrospect, because the only time there's going to be colors on the cover, and it's unlikely this character is going to be on the cover. And yeah, I mean, unlike some of the other things where I needed to delineate planes and negative space, this is pretty clear who he was. But I guess I was just making sure I did 2 hours. I don't know. I gave him some bright red pants, and then I think I changed my mind about that. Yeah, slightly less bright. No, even less bright. And then I'll lighten up the cuffs. Anyway, this is the librarian, and he is, I don't even think he has a name yet. I don't know if I'll ever give him a name. But that's him, and that's the main drawing I did today. And the script I did went with the scene, so it was a rare case of both things matching. Librarian man. He's librarian man.
So, there you go. As you can see, I have this librarian character fleshed out, at least in terms of visuals. And that was pretty much my day. And the drawing part of that was maybe a half hour, but like I spent another half hour research pulling pictures of not just the librarian, but also libraries and people holding books and things that I don't want to have to draw eventually anyway, so I just saved that on the side. Somebody was telling me, I was talking to somebody about different social media, and I was saying how, for me, Tumblr is the least productive place to post things. I use Facebook a lot, I use Instagram a lot, I'm using YouTube more, And then from Instagram, I can repost to Twitter and to Tumblr and a few other places, so I'll just do that. And if I post up a drawing or something, I'll typically, by the end of the day, have, 20 likes, 30 likes, 10 likes, 15 likes on the various different social medias. And Tumblr, I'll have 0. And I looked through a bunch of my old posts on Tumblr, and I'm like, man, like, none of these have likes. Like, maybe my really popular ones are like 1 or 2. And a friend of mine was like, well, yeah, but they're looking for, like, licensed stuff. You put up a picture of Star Wars and stuff. But I put up, like, Power Rangers and Godzilla and, like, all kinds of, like, known properties. And those are the big ones that'll get, like, 1 or 2 notes on Tumblr. So, anyway, I don't get Tumblr at all. And I was talking to somebody about this, and they were like, oh, yeah, well, I use that and whatever. And they brought up Pinterest, which I'm aware of, but, like, I was kind of like, who uses Pinterest? Like, I got the impression that it's, like, something that, like, stereotypical middle-aged housewife moms, if that even exists in this world anymore, like, those are the people that go on Pinterest to, like, I don't know, get recipes or something. And I kind of have looked at it once or twice for reference purposes, and I'm like, oh, let me look up a thing, and it'll be like, oh, you must log into Pinterest to look at this. I'm like, I gotta sign up just to look at it. Done, not using it. But I have been trying to get out there more, so maybe I should revisit it. And the people I talk to were like, well, it's the main thing it's good for, like, is like it's all pictures, and it's not creating your own content, although I guess you could. It's mainly grabbing other people's content and, like, aggregating it into, like, oh, well, here's pictures I like of RoboCop, or here's all the Naruto fan fiction I've seen, or whatever. Which didn't seem that appealing to me, because while I certainly will share a friend's link or talk about artwork I like, I didn't feel the need to make a little museum of things I like online. But an artist guy I was talking to was like, oh, I'll use it for, like, reference, which made sense, except I find when I do research, I find a picture I like, I save it to my desktop. I find a picture I like, save it to my desktop, then I have a folder labeled, destroyed schools, or a folder labeled tidal waves, or a folder labeled wolves, or, and then I have it, I don't have to be online to look at it, I don't need to share it with people, so I kind of don't get Pinterest. That was a huge tangent. If you understand Pinterest or Tumblr, feel free to tell me what I'm missing out on, and maybe I'll change my behavior thusly. Meanwhile, I'm going to stick to Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as my primary sources anyway. So that ends the day. I got to go. Tomorrow is Saturday. Theoretically, I should get a lot of work done, but Sunday, I know I'm not going to get much work done. I have a music project. We're going back into the studio. I guess it's a band, but we're not really a band anymore. This is kind of like we did a bunch of songs, we're going to record a few, and then that's, whatever. And we're recording the second half of that Sunday, and so I'm going to have to lay down some vocal tracks and rhythm guitar most of the day. And to be honest, I'm a little rusty. I've been practicing here and there, but part of the reason I sort of ended that association, not that I'm not friends with those guys, and obviously we're going to go record, but I was like, I don't want to keep doing this indefinitely, just because I wanted to spend more time on my art, which, as you can see, I've been doing at least for 11 days. And so tomorrow I'm going to spend a couple hours just really practicing, so that when I go into the studio I don't look like an idiot. So yeah, you'll still have updates the next 2 days, but it'll be 2 hours maximum instead of 2 hours minimum. And yeah, that's it. So this is day 11. We've passed the 90% mark. We're at 89%. It's kind of cool to realize that, 10 days, that's 10%. I'm 10% done. But then it's also like a day is 1%. Like, imagine if you were loading a file and it was going that slow. I'd be like, oh, chop my arms off, please. I'd still see it, but then I'd bleed to death and I wouldn't have to see it. So I'm at 89%. So 89%, well, that equals 89 more days left.